Welcome to the Macros for Life podcast, where we talk all things macros, business, and marriage. We're your hosts, Eve and Randall Guzman. Visit our website at www.gtransformationacademy.com, where you can download our free How to Track Macros guide. This guide has helped over 15,000 people start their macro tracking journey. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Macros for Life podcast. I'm Randall and she's Eve. Today we're going to be talking to y'all about consistency, and we're going to be talking to y'all about the fact that some of us have to work harder as far as it concerns our journey to become fit and healthy than others do. And that can be based off of different things we may have going on with our body or just our genetics in general.
Absolutely. And we talk about this a lot in our household. I mean, a lot. And that's because we coach regular people. We work with coaches that experienced it with their own people. And then you guys know we have our own transformation that has been long, rocky, but also rewarding. And so a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about from our personal experience as well. But I mean, it's true. Some of us do have to work harder at fitness. And when we say fitness today, we mean like your version of fit, what's fit and healthy to you, because it will vary for everybody else. So let's start off with consistency first, because you brought that up. So no matter what, consistency is going to be the thing that actually gets you to the goal that you're after. And I could probably talk about consistency the whole time on this. Like it could be the whole entire podcast. One of the questions we get from people is, I'm being consistent. So how consistent do I need to be when it comes to macro tracking? Because you guys know we're macro coaches. We do recommend when it comes to your protein, carb, and fat goals, with protein plus or minus 5 grams of the target. With your carbs plus or minus 5 grams of the carb target, and then fat plus or minus 3 grams of the fat target. If you don't have your macros set up, we do have a podcast on how to get started with macro tracking or macro counting for beginners. It's just a couple podcasts back, so definitely go and take a look at it. But that's pretty much your parameters when it comes to like being consistent. If you guys are looking at a percentage, it's at least 90%. What's your intake on that, babe?
I mean, I agree with you, of course. I mean, you're the queen of macros, but definitely that's been my take on it. Is with carbs and protein, your plus or minus is 5, and then with fat, your plus or minus is 3. Of course, it's less because fat is going to cost you more calories than carbs are, but I mean, the same with your workouts. Consistency is always going to be king in everything you do. So that's going to be the most important factor when you get started. And it's one that I always tell people, like, when you start, do what you can be consistent in doing. Don't do what you see people doing on Instagram. Don't do what you see people doing that, okay, I really look up to this dude because I want his body, because you really don't know what this dude is doing, first of all. And you don't know how long he's been doing it. You don't know where he started. So a lot of times I'm like, if you haven't been working out or if you haven't been eating healthy like that, let's start changing one habit at a time, because then you can be consistent. Then you can keep on going and you can keep on growing in it. But if you dive in and try to do it all at once, you won't be consistent at all. And at the end of the day, the consistency is what's going to get you the results, not jumping in and doing one crazy workout or eating like really clean for 1 week and then falling off the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that depending on like your body type and size, which we'll get into more into in a second, also plays a role on like how tightly you need to be with your consistency. If you're a bigger, taller person, you weigh more, you have a little bit more wiggle room. But again, like Randall was saying, the more you're on target, like you're going to get a better result of what like your level of where you need to start is. If you're a shorter, smaller person, if you're older, your wiggle room is like really fucking tight. I mean, like tight. And I'm speaking from personal experience because my wiggle room is so fucking tight that I have to be on my A game. And that's like with all goals that I have, but especially fat loss. I'm a short person, I'm petite. I don't have a big wiggle room when it comes to a calorie deficit. So for me, like a 15% calorie deficit is like 250 to 300-ish calories, depending on my current weight. I can eat 250 to 300 extra calories to put me right back at maintenance, where I would be not losing weight, where people call it a plateau, by just like eating one like larger protein bar. Like I can eat out of my deficit in like 60 seconds. It can be, I can be out of my calorie deficit faster than that, depending on how good the thing is that I'm eating. And so I don't have much wiggle room. So if I have a night, let's say I'm in a fat loss phase and I have a night that I'm like, damn, I just really want a serving of ice cream. And then I make it and then put an Oreo or two on top. That totally takes me away from the goal. And so that like 90% like totally goes out the window. And so that's just kind of like the context. Randall's got a little bit more wiggle room. Like he's taller than me, he weighs more than me, he's got way more muscle in his body. He gets more wiggle room. But like I gotta work harder when I want to be consistent and hit my goals. So just know that like some of y'all gotta be like on your A game 95% of the time.
And that's very true. And then I think a lot of times smaller people kind of get shade thrown at them because by bigger people. I know because I'm a big dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I know because like if you know better, you do better. But I didn't always know better. So a lot of times, like we look at smaller people, a bigger person, and we'll be like, hey, like they can eat what they want to eat. You know what I'm saying? They just do what they want to do. You ain't got nothing to worry about this, that, and the other. No, the fact is, we actually burn more calories. So we get more wiggle room, during the process, and we can still lose weight, actually. Like the thing is, I can go in a workout and I can work out for an hour and a half and come out of there and burn over 1,000 calories. You you work out for an hour and a half, you can work just as hard as me, and you be lucky to come out there burning 600. So
Mhm.
like we just have to look at it like that when we think about it. Like, yeah, you got a smaller body, you burn less energy with that smaller body as well. So you do have less wiggle room, not to mention the weight factor. And like you said, the muscle factor. So I mean, in our house, it's night and day when we're making our plates and when we're counting our macros. So like like if y'all just seeing us fixing our food together, then I mean it will be evident. If you can't make it make sense, then that will help you make it make sense. But at the same time, I think like people that are bigger have to be careful with that because we can get away with that sometimes. Like sometimes I can get away. I can throw in an extra protein bar. I can eat an extra this or this, that, and the other, and I can still wake up tomorrow and be lighter. But you can't get comfortable with that because if you keep doing it over and over again, it's gonna backfire on you, and then you're gonna be
Mhm.
like, well, "What the hell happened? Why am I not seeing results?" Well, you keep on going back to the pot. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You keep on.
pretty
You
much.
can't
Yeah.
just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
get burnt after a while, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely goes both ways for sure. And like you basically kind of leading into the conversation of like metabolism, how many calories like you naturally burn at rest. When you work out, your EAT, your exercise activity thermogenesis, it's going to be higher. So there's a lot of areas that some people can't compete with each other. And then you can have two people the same height, the same weight. Let's say me and Randall, same height, same weight. If he's got more muscle in his body than me, I have a more, what I would say, sensitive metabolism than him. It's going to be slower because I got less muscle. He has more muscle than me. And so you can be the same size and weight as somebody you're following online that you love, social media, whatever, but your body fat percentage might be, 15 more points higher than theirs. Y'all aren't going to be eating the same things and have the same results. They may be able to eat 800 more calories a day than you. And so you might have to work harder at your fitness right now. It's not that you can't get there, but like you're definitely comparing apples to oranges but on the outside, y'all look like the same fruit. I have a
And
sensitive metabolism. I do. I've lost a lot of weight. My metabolism is super adaptive, meaning When I cut my calories, I can lose weight at first, but then it gets comfortable. I have a very sensitive metabolism. Someone else that's the same age, height, weight, muscle composition may be able to go on the same deficit as me, and they might lose weight faster, be more successful. I mean, everybody's a little bit different, but I know my metabolism is a little more sensitive, so I have to be on my A game with all of my goals that I have because shit's just a little more tender over here.
100%. 100% true. And like you said, you just can't go off based off another person just because you might be the same size or the same height or whatever. I mean, like I met a brother this weekend and we were chopping it up and he was like, I'm trying to get to, he's like, I'm trying to get to 200 pounds. He was like, such and such and such. Where are you trying to get to? And I was like, I was like, when I do get a chance to cut, like I usually stop around 265 or 260. And he was like, well, why you want to weigh that much? This, that, and the other. I was like, I'm 290 right now. And I went 38. And he was like, oh, he was like, I didn't know. He was like, I didn't know. I can't tell because you lean. And I'm like, but that's why you can't base yours off of everybody else and what they, because I'm 290 and I wear a size 38 jeans and I wear a XL shirt if it's fitted, maybe a 2X. So like a dude 240 wears those clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't really base that off. And that means like my metabolism is going to burn a lot faster than theirs because I'm putting that protein in my body like that. I'm working out every day. I'm lifting weights. So I'm burning a lot of calories when I'm at rest. So like you just can't do it. You can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And then some people are more sensitive to gaining muscle. There's some people that are like, I just can't gain muscle. I can't gain weight. And it just takes more calories. It takes more reps and time in the gym. And so it's not always about getting leaner. The opposite end of the spectrum is the same too. It's also good that you like talked about body build. Like you mentioned, like you are like a bigger dude, and that can also have impact, like the different body types. I definitely believe in them. So like when you're looking at the three major body types, like you're basically looking at your ectomorphs, which are going to be more lean, they're going to be more slender. So they have less body fat, but they also have lower muscle. Your endomorphs are ones that store more fat, but can have a decent amount of muscle, but can gain weight easily. And then your mesomorphs are like the athletic body. You definitely have more muscle. They can gain muscle easy. They can lose fat, lose weight easier. And so it also is important to kind of know what kind of body type you are. But a lot of people may not truly know their body type until they've been into fitness for at least a year. Some people are overweight and they might say, I'm this body type, but you may not know till you slim down some, put on some muscle, reveal muscle to kind of know what you are. But like your body type is also a good indicator of like how much work you may have to put in.
100%. 100%. And like, just because like, so me personally, I know for me, I'm a mesomorph / ectomorph. So like, I'm not saying that I can't get skinny. It's not possible for me to get skinny ever, but it's really not in the cards for me. It's really not one of my goals. And I'm going to eat and work like the body type that I am and the body type that I want to be. But I think a lot of people look at these things and we come into it and we see like, okay, if I'm a short, stocky dude, like, why am I trying to be built like Mike Phelps? Like it's just not gonna happen. Like it goes to something that, I heard I think Icky Johnson said the dichotomy of control.
Mm-hmm.
It's the dichotomy of control. You have to have sense to know which things you can control and which things you're that are out of your control. So, we eat for what we want to go for. Like, yes, I can lose weight, but I can't grow. I can't develop long muscles like Mike Phelps, this, that, and the other. So I need to find, my body type. I need to find maybe people that I want to look to that actually look like me or look like where I want to go. and
Mhm.
then eat for those goals, work for those goals, but you need to tailor them to something that's actually realistic for you to get to. And
Mhm.
this is me telling you, you're gonna say, people say, well, what do you mean realistic? You saying I can't do this, you saying I can't do that. I lost 126 pounds. Like, so I'm not saying that you can't do this and you can't do that. What I'm saying is a lot of times, like if you have that muscular build, if you have that bigger build, even when you lose weight, you still gonna have that muscular build,
Mhm.
if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it does. And I think it also plays an important role on like the types of like workouts you should be doing. Um You
100%.
definitely I know you're just like way more into the lifting game than me. But like the types of workouts you're doing, like we can speak mostly about lifting right now,
Mhm.
but those are also very important for the type of path that you're paving to get to the goal of how you want to look and what's effective for you. There are certain types of workouts that will make you look a little bit differently, and that may not be the way that you want to look. There are certain types of workouts that you may not love, but they might be the workouts that are the types of ones that you need to dig into more to get the kind of look that you want. Some people can lift a little bit less and get muscular really fast. Some of us have to be consistent for months. And I don't mean like this big, crazy, bulky muscle, but like enough to know that you're kind of cutting up, like you're seeing some definition and stuff come in. Some of us have to work harder. And the only way you're going to know is trying different types of workouts for a good amount of time. I know people try to change workouts every month. That's not like a thing you should be doing. Like you probably should be on a lifting program for like 4 to 6 months before you make the decision, I got to do something else. But the types of workouts you're doing are important too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the amount of time you have to spend there, like you said, could differ from person to person. Like some people can just jump in there 3 days a week and be fine.
Hmm.
Like, they can be fine, muscles popping, lean out, whatever. But some people you might have to go 5. You might have to
Hmm.
go 5, and you might have to work up to that and maintain that, 5 times a week. What that may be. You may have to, some people are going to have to put cardio in. Some people never have to do cardio. Some people can lift and they're going hard enough in their lift to where that cardio is enough for them. Me, I had to get my ass on the treadmill and and walk after I left. Like I need that. I need that little cardio. Like
Hmm.
I don't have to get on the cardio machine and go crazy, but I need to take a walk uphill after I finish at least.
Hmm.
I mean, but that's how I'm built.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing for me. Like, even when I was like competing, I mean, I had to work to get that lean. I had to do lots of cardio. I had to do lots of lifting. Now that stuff stresses my body out. So I kind of know my sweet spot. It's like 4 to 5 lifting days per week, typically 4. I'm so happy that I'm not doing 6, but more movement in the way of like NEAT and cardio could potentially make me leaner, and that's how much more I'd have to work. And sometimes we have to make decisions. Are you comfortable where you're at, or do you have to work harder to hit that fitness goal? Like Randall was saying, there are some people, man, they can lift 3 days a week, 6 to 8K steps, and they stay to 20% body fat percentage. Some people do. That ain't gonna be me. I mean, oh my God. And I could probably eat 2,500 calories. Come on. That sounds like a beautiful thing to
I
me.
know. I know. I know some of my homeboys that never do cardio
Yeah, I know some people
and
that
they
have
look great.
never ever done cardio. Then they look
Yeah.
fit, and if we hiked with them, we would out hike their asses.
Yeah.
We love y'all, but
Yeah.
it's just different. And sometimes, like, we just have to come to terms, like, you might be someone that in a cut, you might have to do 20 minutes of cardio 4 days a week.
Hmm.
Some people only need 10K steps during their cut, and they cut like crazy. They lose the weight.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
can lose weight on steps alone.
For sure. For sure. It sounds like different seasons. Um, like I think a lot of times we get to where we go, oh, when I was 25, I looked like this. I want to get back to that. I was doing this to get to this place when I was 25. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
40 now, homeboy. Like, that ain't gonna work for you right now. Like 9 times out of 10, your body has changed by then. Your muscle composition has changed by then. Your metabolism has changed by then. You don't have as much testosterone as you had when you were 25. So things
Mm-hmm.
work different. So like we get back in there and we trying to do the same thing we did then to get in shape. First of all, most of us can't do the same things we could do then. I mean, to get in shape then. Some of us have actually developed enough to where we can do more than we could do at 25 because we've gotten better over the years. But I mean, that's unrealistic for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
That, because people usually get a little bit more out of shape the older they get. We're a little different because we were so out of shape at a young age, and then we got in better shape as we went on. But even then, like I can lose weight. I could lose weight a lot easier back then than I can now. Like, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more effort. It takes more accuracy in the kitchen. It takes different things. But most of all, we get back to what we talked about earlier. It takes that consistency
Mm-hmm.
because I can't do like back in the day, you could just hop on and get on a 3 week. Well, like when I talk to Bam, that's my son, y'all. When I talk to Bam, like about getting he'll say, I want to get a little leaner. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he lean. Like all he had to do was cut out a couple bags of chips.
That's
He's
it.
16. Like
Yeah.
it's your body is different now. So you have to be more consistent. You have to be more deliberate about the things you're doing. And I mean, that's how you get results now.
Mm-hmm. And just to note, we do have a podcast with our daughter on what she would do without tracking macros or calories to lean out. So definitely listen to that one, especially if you've got like a college age student or like a young adult, like 16 to 21. But like, they're just like a product
Don't
of
put them
watching us.
kids on those strict, crazy diets.
Yeah, don't you no. And don't send them to us if they are not 21 years of age or older. We would never have them macro track, and that's just how we feel. So come
Yeah.
at me. Come at me
But I'll
about
give
that
them
one.
advice. I give a lot of people advice when they ask me about their kids, but it's simple advice.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's because it should be simple for them at that age. So it's basically just cutting out some of the junk,
Yep.
cutting out the sodas, cutting out the chips, cutting out some of the candy, cutting out some of the fast food, and continue eating and move your body.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get results.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Definitely. Another one is sleep.
Yeah.
I could
And make them
do
go to sleep because them kids don't sleep. They be up playing video games all day. They don't sleep. Yeah.
So sleep is something that some of us have to work harder at to have our fitness goals met. Back in the day, like I could sleep 5 or 6 hours and I felt fine. Y'all, Randall used to go to bed at 3 a.m. sometimes on the weekend and get up at 5 a.m. to go to work. And I was like, how? And then still hit his fitness goals. We can't do that exactly now. I have to have at least 7.5 hours of sleep to be functional.
Yeah. But that caught up with me too. Like
Mhm.
like she tell y'all that and yeah, I was able to do at a younger age, I was still able to lose weight and build muscle doing that. But like after doing that for years and years, and it all goes back to the whole philosophy. Oh, I got shit to do now. I'll rest when I die. I don't need no sleep. Like that's so far from the truth. Like, but I mean, that's the way I lived for years because I was so busy trying to do things. But the crazy thing is it started catching up to me and it really hit me after I slowed down as far as work goes. Like when I retired and left my job, like, and I should have been sleeping more. I should have been getting 7, 8 hours of sleep. I was so used to going without sleep for so long that I couldn't sleep. So
Mhm.
like I would still only get 3, 4 hours of sleep. And by that time, I was getting older and it was starting to affect my goals. Like, yeah, I would still get up and go work out, but I just wasn't seeing results.
Mhm.
And like the main reason was probably because I wasn't getting enough sleep, because like I was still on point with my macros. I was still getting my workouts in, but I wasn't getting any sleep. But when I started actually intentionally trying to get more sleep, I started feeling better. I started getting more results. I started getting stronger, and I started getting leaner. So like
Mhm.
sleep is super important, and a lot of times we don't think about it, but that's the only time that we give our organs, our brain, all of that, all of those things, our heart time to rest like that, like where we're just not doing nothing. You got to think, if
Mhm.
you like you working, your body
Yeah.
is working, and it
Yeah.
needs to recharge.
Yeah. That's where we get like our cellular and hormonal regeneration. But people want to just grind and ride till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, I don't know where I read this at, but it's simple, but it was eye opening to me. And it was just like, think of your body like a battery. Like, if you are not recharging it back up to 100% every day, and you waking up on 60%, you waking up on 58%, like, you don't have enough battery to carry you through the day. And
Hmm.
you operating, your body is operating in an optimized state instead of operating fully like it should be,
Yeah.
because your body is super smart, so it's going to try to adapt and survive in any kind of circumstance you put it in.
And this is where a lot of people end up with hormonal issues that affect muscle growth, also weight maintenance, and having the inability to lose weight because they've probably ran one of their systems into the ground, and it's showing up as hypothyroidism. It's showing up as like having your adrenal markers off and having high cortisol, not being able to cope with stress, not being able to sleep at night, but everybody wants to supplement with the pill instead of like focusing on the lifestyle stuff, and sleep is one. So some of y'all need to sleep to actually hit your goals.
And look, I've been reading, y'all. Like, I read that those supplements that help you fall asleep don't really help you recover though.
No,
Like, I read that,
they
and
only really give you like 30 more minutes of sleep, they say.
yeah, but it doesn't, something I can't remember exactly what I read in it.
Hmm.
Um, but it doesn't help you to recover, like if you were naturally falling asleep. Like,
Hmm.
even though you're getting that sleep, you're not fully recovering like you should be when you're taking those things to go to sleep. So I was like, dang, that's kind of
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
true.
the body even knows that.
Hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
Y'all know that we're a big fan of like stay in your own lane, keep your eyes on your own paper. If you haven't kind of gotten the gist of that from this conversation today, but it also applies to calorie deficits. There are some people that don't have to cut much and they lose a lot of weight. There are some people that have to cut a lot to lose a little bit of weight. Some people do well in longer deficits, some don't. It's all going to really come down to your dieting history, your genetics, your hormones, your body composition. You can definitely get away with a lot more if you've got more muscle and your hormones are optimized and like you're taking care of yourself. So all the things we've been saying, if you're walking daily, you are doing a adequate amount of cardio for cardiovascular health, but you're not running yourself into the ground. If you're lifting, you're being consistent with nutrition, you can get away with more and maybe not have to cut as deep, but you definitely have to keep your eyes on your own paper when it comes to calorie deficits, because what may work for someone else, the depth, the length, the programming may not work for you, and vice versa. Some people are going to have to cut a little bit deeper than others. And that's just sometimes like the nature of the beast. I'm one of those people sometimes. But you have to be careful to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
100%, 100%. And you talked about hormones, like,
Hmm.
and I know hormones, like most of the issues that come up with hormones affect women in more ways than men. But like the only way that we know that we're having hormone issues is to get our blood work. I mean, to know where our hormone levels are, or to get our blood work. And like dudes don't get their blood work done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like it's like get your blood work done. Like, ladies, if you got a dude in your life, or he husband, boyfriend, or whatever, make that dude get his blood work done, because a lot of us are running around here and we haven't got our blood work done since we were teenagers. You know, ever since you've been a grown man, you ain't went to the doctor and got your blood work done. You don't know what the hell is going on with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then, like, God forbid, you run out here and have a heart attack, or we look up and we got diabetes, you know, and you missed all of the precursors where you could have changed your activities and the way you were living because you never got your blood work done, you know, before, when you had opportunity to change those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm a big advocate of that. Like, I don't love going to the doctor, but I'm gonna get my blood work done every year
Yeah. He does it
consistently.
multiple times a year,
Yeah, yeah.
at
My
least
lipid
twice a
panel,
year.
my lipid panel is A1 too. Don't trip. A1.
Yeah. And if you don't have health insurance, I have three things that this the third one is going to be definitely more for men that you guys can do at home just to like do a check. Like these are definitely some like gauges. Well, one is like a fourth one. So the first one is like taking your body temperature. That's like a good gauge of where your metabolism is. Are you too cold? Are you too warm? Your fingertips. Are you getting warm after eating? That's normal. I probably need to do a whole podcast on just like, just like your basic, damn it, I can't think of the word right now, but basically just health points that you can check at home to see what type of like general health you're in. I can't think of the word right now. It'll be in the show notes. But like your body temperature is one. Free. Y'all can work on assessing what your body temperature is like with a thermometer, with how you're feeling. Body temp is one. Number two is blood pressure. You guys can go to Walmart, Walgreens, or whatever and get your blood pressure checked. Blood pressure is definitely one of the biomarkers that a lot of men, especially, are not looking at, and it's probably one of the number one things next to blood glucose. You can
And
order
if
a
your
cup.
arm too big, you can get one off Amazon.
Yes, you can do a wrist one, and that's like $20 to $45, depending on if you catch an Amazon deal. So that's number two, check your blood pressure. Number three, blood glucose. High blood pressure, high blood glucose definitely affect your progress with fitness. They are silent killers until you see the numbers. You can order a glucose monitoring device, not the kind that stays in your arm all the time. That is not for you unless you're type 1 diabetes. I'm against that when it comes to coaching. We talk about that some other time. But for $35, you can prick your own finger and figure out your blood glucose level. So that's number three. And then number four, for men, another sign of having hormonal health and good overall health is, are you having an erection? That's important.
Yes,
It is
sir.
so important.
Yes, sir. If it ain't working, something wrong.
Yes.
Like, something wrong.
Yes, it could be stress, anxiety, blood pressure, your liver, your prostate. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Since we started getting into like testing, but I mean, and it's not that you've got to be 50, 60, 70. This is happening to men in their 30s, okay?
Hmm.
And
I didn't
so a
even know
lot of
that.
it can be tied to lifestyle.
Yeah, it can be. I didn't even know that. I didn't know, like, the dudes was dealing with that at like our age,
Mhm.
like, and even younger than us.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge indicator of, like, a lot of it's like could be diet, stress, like you said, lack of sleep or whatnot. But man, like, if that don't get you motivated to eat right, I don't know what will. Like, I mean, stop drinking every day and stay. I'm not saying you can't have some drinks sometimes, but don't drink every day. And then stay out of that fast food line. Like,
Mhm.
get some veggies in your life. Like, get that blood pressure down. You know, that thing will work a little better. It'll work better.
It's true. I mean, it actually came up at a woman's conference that I was at, of like, ladies, help take care of your men counterparts, friends, family members, make sure they're looking after their health, your partner, all of that. Like, we definitely have to help each other, because like it makes everything harder. But yeah, back on the calorie deficit thing, it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. And sometimes you might have to cut a little bit more, but you've got to make sure that the rest of your house is in check if your calorie deficit has to be a little bit deeper for you to see success with weight loss, meaning stress reduction. You've got to be eating quality foods, getting sleep, not doing tons and tons of cardio with a calorie deficit that might have to be lower to get there. But there are some people that will have to just like dig a little bit deeper. But like, this is kind of like the summation of like what we consider like a more sensitive body or a more sensitive person. We're definitely people that do have to work a little bit harder. Even though we've lost a lot of weight and we maintain it pretty well, we can't go back to doing what we used to be or do, or I would be 200 plus pounds again. And that's no shade for anybody listening that is that weight. That's just context on how much I have lost. If I went back to eating fast food daily, I would gain that weight back. If I stopped lifting, I stopped focusing on my sleep. There are even some supplements that I take that are supplemental, but do help me with some hormone imbalances that I have. Like, I got to stay on top of that stuff, but it's worth it for me. So sometimes we may make it look easy, like, dang, they've lost, 265 pounds together. I mean, it's constant work for us, but it's second nature because it's a normal thing in our life. Like me pulling out the food scale, normal. Randall being like, we got to get some more veggies from the store. We're low. I got to throw some meat on the grill. We need protein. That's just like a natural reaction. We don't even think about it. But if we went back to the old ways, y'all, we would be a mess right now.
100%, 100%. And like, she not saying that to tell somebody to feel sorry for us or anything like that or whatever. Like, I've definitely had this conversation with a lot of friends or whatever that try to push me to eat different things like what they eat or this, that, and the other. And I felt sorry for myself before in the same facet. Like now, like I don't desire a lot of those different types of food, but even now, like I might want me a big burger, but it may not be the day for it, or I may not have the macros for it at this time, so I got to wait on it. And so yeah, sometimes I do miss that, and I don't get that exactly what I want. But like at the same time, you got to look at obstacles and opportunity. Like every obstacle in your life is an opportunity to get better. Like, and then you have to be grateful for what you have because others may want to be where you are. Like we were able to lose weight, we were able to get healthy, we were able to do this, and this is our battle. This is our battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like we live our lives, and our lives are like kind of like it's kind of like predicated. Like our life is surrounding like how we eat, how we work out. Like that is, and it just so happened we were able to make it our business as well. But at the same time, like you have to be grateful for that because some people are dealing with much worse issues. Some people's like obstacle that they have to overcome in life may be drugs.
Yeah.
Some people's obstacle they may have to overcome in life may be depression. So for me, like, yeah, that's probably like my biggest obstacle in life. That's probably your biggest obstacle in life. But at the same time, I'm grateful for it because it's one that we've learned to control and we learned to attack and we learned how to deal with. And it could have been worse.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely.
You went deep. You got passionate.
I've been doing some
Like, you
practice
want this life or not? That's how how
Yeah.
it came off. You want this or not?
You just got to look at everything. You just have to look at everything in perspective. You know, like for me, like I want to look at every challenge in my life It's basically, it's an obstacle that I just have to get over to get to the next blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if you positive about things and you face them head on, you can overcome anything in life. But you have to face them and you have to deal with them. You can't run from them.
Yep, for sure.
So, yeah, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna wrap it up. Look, we're gonna wrap this thing up and close it out and get with y'all later. But just just when you dealing with people, just deal with them with grace, mercy, empathy, and compassion. And just remember that in all your relationships you go into, because you never know what somebody else is going through. You never know what they're struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we just think about what we're struggling with, and we don't think about that somebody else could have more on their plate than we have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they do. So, as always, we appreciate y'all listening. Make sure y'all like, download, share, and subscribe, and we'll holler at y'all next week. Thanks for listening to our podcast today. Make sure you like, share, and tag us on Instagram. Also, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future episodes. In the meantime, be healthy and get wealthy.